My name is Robert Kennedy, and my title here is Roshi. Literally, it just means old teacher. Well, I am a Catholic Jesuit priest, and I've been a Jesuit for most of my life. And I have served in Japan for 8 years, which was where I discovered Zen Buddhism. And I have been teaching theology here at St. Peter's College for 40 years. And I also am a licensed psychoanalyst in New York State. Well, I became a Jesuit because of, I think, my family. I was born into a Catholic family. I went to a Jesuit high school. I was educated by nuns and priests, so at that time of my life, in that period of church history, it was an obvious step. It's not so obvious now, but in 1950, it seemed like the thing to do with my life. Well, I was in Japan from 1958 to 1966. I went as a young man, and I spent 2 years studying the language. And then I taught in Kobe, a Jesuit high school in Kobe for 2 years. And then I came to Sophia University in Tokyo, and I studied theology for 4 years. And I was ordained a Catholic priest there by Cardinal Doi in Tokyo. And it was after that I returned to the States for graduate studies, for further studies. Well, I had an experience that reminded me of Zen teaching. You know, I was unasked for, actually. I was driving a car. I wasn't looking for a special experience, but there it was. And because of my background in Japan and Buddhism and Zen, I began to sit at that time and try to develop the experience that I had. Well, I sit because this was the tradition given to me, first of all, by the Japanese teachers. I returned to Japan after graduate studies, and I studied in Kamakura with Yamada Roshi. And the Japanese sit, from early in life, they are sitting on cushions, they have a floor culture. It's the most natural thing in the world for them. So in Japan, I sat on a cushion too. And the Zen practice is just breathing gently and softly, and being present to that breath, being present to the breathing. You need a teacher. You need someone to help you, give you example, and encourage you when you need it. You certainly have to learn to be patient. This is a lifelong process, and it's a way of living. It's not something that's done and you graduate and move on. It's breathing, and breathing is natural, it's pleasant, it's easy, and it helps to focus us in the present moment. So it's natural that people of different faiths should sit together, and that's the genius of Zen. It brings people together who might have nothing else in common but breathing. So we come together in peace to practice being present to ourselves. Therefore, each one will develop differently and uniquely, but we develop together. You know, we support one another. It's very difficult to do this alone. Life is so much better when we do it with others. It makes more sense, you know. The Jesuits were not founded to reform the church, but to serve the world. That's the Jesuit vocation, to go out and be of service to humanity, which includes foreign countries. So from the beginning, the Jesuits were founded in the 16th century. From the beginning, we have been in other countries. We've founded universities in most of the major cities of the world. Why? That's where humanity is. That's where we feel the church should be, or our vision of the church should be, with all men and women in the service of them, teaching what they need to have a good life. The Jesuits have completely supported me in my Zen work. because it is part of a wider Jesuit vision, which is not simply to reform the church, but primarily to serve the world, to serve humanity. Therefore, we reach out to all different faiths to dialogue with them. And Buddhism is one of the great world religions, and Zen fits into that. It's under the umbrella of Buddhism. Well, Morning Star, Zendo just means a place to meditate. And Morning Star was a name I chose because it had such resonance in both Buddhist and Christian history. For Christians, the Morning Star in the Book of Revelation is Christ himself. And sometimes it was used for the mother of Christ, the Morning Star. For the Buddhists, their belief, their mythology is that Buddha came to enlightenment by seeing the morning star. So it was a word that brought two traditions together in resonance. You know, they both knew what their morning star would mean, and that all are welcome. Well, it is a place in which people of all traditions can come and sit. We never ask a person what his faith is. We just ask how his breathing is, what his vision is like, how he or she sees the world. And it works. People are interested in this, where they are treated with respect. All are welcome. One Jewish man said to me, "You'll never know what it means to hear that faith is not an issue, that all are welcome," you know. And that is the spirit here. We breathe together, we study together, we support one another. I feel happy and content that so many people find a home here, that what I wanted to be they think is wonderful, and they come on their own. There's no tuition here, there's no money here, no one is on salary here. It is just the spirit of humanity that we pursue, an attentive presence to others in an effective, efficacious way.